Madame After Midnight. This is a podcast where we talk about life and its many pursuits of sustainable happiness. I'm your host, Madame Donut. Now, a word of warning. I give this to you every week. You should know by now that this podcast can make you hungry or horny or both. But you know what? As long as you did your job and put the kids to sleep, we have no problems, right? Tonight, I already want to digress. I'm just introducing my guest, and I already want to digress because, as I said, this podcast might make you hungry or horny. It makes me feel slightly dirty just thinking of that. Thinking that because my guest is so sweet. And I swear, I took a shower and I just thought about that. I was like, oh my God, how dirty of you to even think that you're going to make people possibly horny tonight. Anyways, like I said, I digress. My guest tonight, I'm very excited about having her over on the show because I was just telling her how when I first was made aware of her amazingness as a songstress, I saw her in a couple of musical theater performances that she did a few years back. And I was just so mesmerized, but I didn't know who she was because she was so good at playing these roles that I kept bumping into her or seeing her after then, and I didn't know who it was until I talked to her one day. No one was wearing makeup at that point, and we were talking about what she did in this one show, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, that was you! And I was so amazed. And long story short, just a couple weeks later or a month or so later, she was taping stuff on my boobs, and we were basically very close after that, or at least very intimate. But anyways, my guest is an amazing singer. She's an amazing musical performer. She's also a vocal coach. I wanted to talk so much about her vocal coaching because I've always, I sing, I like to sing, but I was never trained. So that was one of the things I always felt kind of maybe insecure about, or maybe I don't want to use the word insecure, but something I always felt kind of unqualified, if I may, to sing professionally. But recently she reached out to me and she said, you know what, you should sing more. You can sing. You should put it out there. And so I think I'm going to try to get some free consultation tonight by having her on the show. But guys, please welcome my guest tonight, the very beautiful, the very talented Miss Sara Jelley. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I had to research the song. How do I freaking take this song up? I still haven't figured it out. We're talking about how my lack of engineering skills was just finding all these technical buttons to get that song out of my freaking phone to put it out tonight, because there's no way you're gonna come in and I'm just gonna play a generic song. I tried it, I was imagining it, I was like, no, I don't agree with this. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I love this new single.
Thank you. I'm pretty happy about it too.
Yeah, so I want to talk about that. But before we do, because we're definitely going to go back to it, because I was just rocking to it when I finally played the song. I saw you post it, and I only heard bits of it. But tonight, I was just like, okay, what do we play, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, that's so perfect. It kind of goes with, I think, my theme, if anything, with the kind of music that it is. So anyways, but you've been singing forever. That's how I know you. I mean, when I think of Sara Jelley, I just think the most amazing, haunting, beautiful voice.
Thank you.
No, thank you for gracing us with your talents. It's really, like I said, I've always been so impressed. And this was when I didn't know you, and I was telling you about your performance in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, mm-hmm. and I was seated so close, and I was staring at you, and I was just like, oh my God, this beautiful face, and then you're this doll standing on this podium.
On a rotating podium.
On a rotating podium, yeah. Singing flawlessly.
Thank you.
How do you do that?
Lots of practice.
Okay.
It helps that I have had some really good teachers, and I have been actually watching Chitty Chitty Bang Bang since I was a kid. So that scene was like burned in my brain forever, and it's like one of the greatest honors of my life to get to have performed that.
Yeah.
And the whole team of the theater for putting that together, for finding a rotating podium. I don't even remember what it was supposed to be in real life.
Yeah.
But it was an amazing thing, and they wheeled me in on it, and I like almost fell over a couple times, and I was just sitting there going like, okay, doll, just be a doll, just be super chill. And then my friend Deja helped me choreograph the doll dance moves, and then it was just theater magic from there.
Yeah, who
much
directed that show?
Oh my gosh, I don't even remember his name. He
Because
was a visiting director,
Ah, okay.
one of Alexis's friends.
Yeah. Oh God,
It's
it was
really,
just.
it's bad, but
It was so amazing though. It was so amazing, and I think, I was so busy around. I didn't go outside of this donut shop for many years,
Yeah.
so it was very rare for me to get to see a show. And I think it was my friend Lori. She's probably watching live tonight. Lori, I know you are. She actually was like sending us songs to sing. She's like, "What are you gonna sing for your karaoke?" Like, I don't know. And she would send me the most random requests.
we can do a couple of requests.
Yeah. So yeah, basically, if you heard that, Lori, text me before the end of the show, and we'll see what we can do. Okay? I'm with a pro tonight, so I think like she can wiggle us into that space, because I get a little like, I just sing whatever. It's karaoke, but like I told you, I was like, I need a little warm up before we sing, because
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna be singing this to Sara Jelley. What am I thinking? Like when I said if I'm thinking naughty thoughts, like I feel dirty. I feel even dirtier thinking that I would sing next to you.
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, talking about watching people on stage and being in awe, like when we got closer and I was taping things to you, I was running sound for Cabaret.
Yes.
And you were in Cabaret, and you would stand up on this like 20-foot high podium every night and just like take everybody's brains out of their head. Like, it was mind-blowing.
Oh my God.
Like, your vibrato is so gorgeous, and like it was so cool to see you step out of your donut shop self and just shine in this beautiful singer self that I know has been part of your little dreams for
I mean, I love singing. I've loved singing since I was a kid, but like I was just saying when I digress, as soon as I was trying to introduce you, I was always sort of self-conscious that I never really learned anything about music. I just kind of like got thrown into it. But like being Filipino, you know, it's kind of like a thing that we get together, we sing, we do karaoke, and then you realize like, oh, I could carry a tune. Like, oh my God, I could hit that note a bit better than some. And, you know, so I started singing. In fact, I came to the country because I sang on a cruise ship.
No way.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But again, I think they just hired me because they needed a sextet on that particular contract, and there were 5 of them that they were already set, and you know they've done a lot of gigs together. But for that particular contract, they needed another person, and the easiest person to add last minute is a singer. You know, so they already had the lead singer, so they just kind of added me on, especially because I spoke English very well, and so you know, just I kind of spoke.
Makes sense.
On stage, and they did all the singing and the playing, and I was like 18 years old.
Wow.
I had no idea what I was doing, but from there I did not go back home. It was actually a story from the last podcast. I was like, yeah, you know what, I just jumped ship. I just decided not to go back home. But anyways, I can say that now because I think officially say that now.
Yeah.
I don't think I get in as much trouble.
It's gonna come after.
I don't think so. I hope not. It was like, but anyways, so I've always loved singing, and I got to get around town. Basically, when I was living in New York, I work at a karaoke bar because it was cash money, and sometimes I would even go to different karaoke bars and do competitions to make like an easy $50 or $100 and free drinks, right? So, but when I did Cabaret, I was like feeling it's so funny. I was telling Patty this. I go to audition, and I was thinking, oh my God, what am I doing here? I don't belong here. And everyone's going this, Oh, so anyways, I wanted to ask you about that.
Are you talking about vibrato?
Yeah, well, no, the warm-ups. So I always find it so funny. The warm-ups, because like, you just like...
They're ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're just... That's like a horse. That's a whole different...
Okay. So I'm making it up so badly because I really don't understand it. So,
This is like when you're doing horseplay.
See? Oh my God! Thank you for saying that. She started it. That means I can get naughty now.
I was gonna say, like, I was back there listening to you talk about how I'm so sweet, and I'm like, well, I can be naughty sometimes.
Yes, thank you, yay!
Try. I've been in burlesque shows. I
saw that.
Things sometimes.
I saw that. Okay, we're gonna go back to that because there's actually another burlesque show that I'm gonna see next week. So, but anyways, back to singing. Like I said, I digress a lot. How long have you been singing?
Oh my gosh, since I was little. But I never took lessons until I was in like my 20s.
Oh, wow.
I just never allowed myself to believe that I could do that. I don't know. I'd always just sung by myself.
Yeah.
And like the story I tell is like my friends and I would, act out Sound of Music in our living room and act out Beatles songs and sing Spice Girls and all that stuff. I like belt it out, and I knew I could like carry a tune, but I didn't know that I could actually like do it in front of people like that weren't my family. So in high school I did band. Before that I took guitar lessons and I started writing my own songs, which was amazing. Super cathartic.
In high school, yeah.
When you're like a teen, you have all this angst happening. I'm so grateful to my guitar teacher because like I don't know, third lesson she was like, go write a song, and I was like, what are you talking about? I don't know how to do that. She was like, no, you know 4 chords, just go write a song.
Yeah.
And so I did, and it was an amazing experience. And so I started singing more out, and I like opened for my friend's band. My boyfriend had a band at the time, so I opened for them. And then I just kind of did some open mics and kept writing a little bit, but then in college I got really distracted from music and I didn't do anything. I have a degree in Japanese, by the way.
Can you still speak like Japanese fluently? Or?
I'm pretty rusty. It's been like over 10 years since I have studied it, but like
it'd come back.
Yeah, I can hear it pretty well, and it's just like the speaking and the writing is the hardest part. But yeah, so I took like 4 years off of music to go do that. I spent time in Japan, and it was amazing. I feel like I've lived like 15 different lives in my lifetime.
Wow, how long did you live in Japan?
For a year.
Because that's kind of one of my dreams, actually. Like,
really?
In fact, when I started Donut Dynamite a few years ago, I said to myself, like, oh, this could be a brand that could go to Japan, and I only wanted to do, well, no, I didn't. Not only wanted to do Donut Dynamite because of it, but I always kind of imagined I could bring Donut Dynamite to Japan because I wanted to be a full-time Harajuku girl.
Oh, you would be the queen of Harajuku girls, and you would kill it in Japan. Donut Dynamite would go crazy in Japan.
I would, yeah, and that's what like the next kind of goal. Yeah, because I really want to live there. I want to learn how to make noodles. That was kind of like one of the things. Like I actually want to go there to bring my donuts, but I actually want to go there to study how to make some other kind of food. Yeah, noodles in particular. I don't know. It'd just be like so much fun. But where in Japan did you live?
I lived in Tokyo.
Tokyo, okay.
I kind of stayed here and there, and I stayed. I mean, there's many stories I could tell you, but like I went and did some traveling with the parents of the teenage girls that I was teaching English at the time, so it was kind of like my part-time job. Yeah. And they were kind of like my host family, even though I wasn't living with them. And so we did all this traveling, and I was staying kind of outside of the city, and it was an incredible experience. Like I made it my point to fully immerse myself, and I didn't, a lot of American study abroad kids, they just go and they meet the other American kids and they hang out with them. Yes. But I did not want to do that. I did not want to waste my time. I only had a year to be there and to be fluent, which was my goal. Yeah. And so I did. So I joined the ultimate Frisbee team, and I hung out with the Frisbee girls for a year straight, and it took me like almost the entire year to feel like I fit in. Yeah. And I mean,
I'm just imagining you're so much taller than everybody, and it's like it's so cute to watch with the Japanese girls in the first meeting. Oh my God. So you have to like throw a little bit lower. Yes. It's So
exactly.
cute.
Yeah. So they taught me a whole lot of things. That whole year I learned so much about myself and how to be my own person and to stand up for myself and go do what I want and to be independent in a different country. Like I didn't know that I could do that.
Yeah.
And so that was an incredible experience. Did lots of karaoke in Japan.
Yeah. Hello, that's like the capital.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
I mean, technically, Philippines. I always say this. The Filipinos, I want to say, actually came up with the karaoke. It's just that we didn't know how to call it karaoke, and we didn't have the technology for it. You know how the Japanese always makes things better. Like they get a good idea, and they're like, "Wait, and we can tinker with this." So there were a lot of Filipino entertainers that worked in Japan and like hostess bars. And one of the ways they entertained is they would sing, right? And they brought their tapes. We call them multiplex tapes back in the Philippines, where it's recorded so the track for the background music is separate from the vocals. And so you can turn the balance.
Gotcha.
So we had like our stereo, so you could put the speaker on the right, and you can only have the background music and then the vocals on one side, and you can put them together or whatever. So that was like one thing that the Filipinos kind of came up with, because we didn't always have a band available, and you want to perform in somebody's, I don't know, wedding or whatever, and you have your tape.
Yeah.
And it was so cute. We would bring our tapes, and it was always like we'd specify, this is a multiplex tape, so you have to turn the balance to the left or whatever. So anyways, they brought them to Japan. And the Japanese were like, oh, wait a minute, we could totally do this, and made just a better system of like being able to, sing-along system, if you will. And then kind of, okay, I don't know, it's a Japanese word. But yeah, I cannot imagine you living in Japan and not doing karaoke.
Oh, for sure. I did. Yeah, I did plenty. And it's so much better there because they have these little rooms that you go to with just your friends.
Yeah.
Whereas here it's like in front of a whole bar of people, and that's like way too intimidating for a lot of people. So it's really nice to have this like intimate little space.
Yeah, and you can bring your own drinks and stuff, and it's so true. Well, they have a few of those in the what do you call them?
Yeah, castle down here.
Yes, so that's where my friend used to take me and go to castle, and it's great. We'll bring our own drinks and we'd just start wailing. It doesn't matter. I mean, that's the cool thing. You're just with your friends, so you can just. It doesn't matter. That's what I love about karaoke. It's not serious. If you mess it up, it's part of the fun. If the drunker you are, usually the better.
Pretty much, yes.
So you were there for a whole year, and but did you move to Japan from Maui, or were you living elsewhere?
No, I lived in Colorado. I grew up in Colorado. I went to school in Boulder, at CU Boulder, and that's where I majored in Japanese. And I had a study abroad year there, and then I came back and finished my senior year, and then I moved back up to Fort Collins, Colorado, which is where I was, where I grew up. And then in 2015, I moved here to Maui with an ex-boyfriend who we're no longer together.
And were you like singing again by then, or when you moved here, were you back to performing?
Yeah, I kind of took some time to get back into it because I had to like find a job and be an adult.
Yeah, I mean every artist, right? Or it's always like it's kind of annoying, like. Well, I have to get a job. I just want to play.
And it takes a long, long time. Like, I feel like I've just arrived in my artist self, like the last couple of years, and I'm almost 35.
And I think it probably forced you because of the pandemic.
That was helpful. Yeah, it was very helpful because I could have kept saying yes to part-time jobs over and over again forever.
Yes.
So like I moved here and I worked at Whole Foods because I worked at Whole Foods in Colorado, and it's nice to have a job.
And you get food, and I mean
the people are really great. It was pretty chill. Yeah. And then I had a couple other jobs. And when the pandemic hit, I was working at Maui Coffee Roasters in Kapolui. Great people, wonderful job. But the pandemic made me realize, like, I'm in my 30s. I need to not be a barista anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I need to do my own thing. I need to put some effort into my passion, what I want to do, which was creating an album. And I had started vocal coaching in 2017, just on a lark. One of my co-stars, she was like 12 at the time, and her grandpa asked me if I taught vocal lessons, and I was like, not yet. but I could try.
Yeah.
And it kind of just blossomed from there, and just word of mouth through all the theater kids. I was driving around to all my students' houses. So I started coaching kids here and there, and it was super joyful and really exciting to kind of give them what I had been discovering over these many years of doing my own singing. So I took classical lessons in Colorado before I left, and a couple years of like pop lessons as well. Like I had a teacher who did a lot of gospel and soul and stuff, and she recorded my first couple songs for me. And so with that, I did one musical theater show when I was in Colorado, and I came here and I did my second theater show, which was Guys and Dolls in 2015. And then from there I just became obsessed and immersed in the theater world here.
Yeah.
And from there I just met all these amazing people, and I started vocal coaching, and that was 5 years ago already now, which is insane.
Yeah.
And so this past couple of years, the pandemic, like after I left the coffee shop, I didn't want to go back when they reopened. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go beyond word of mouth, and I'm gonna market myself and have a real business.
Good for you, yeah.
So now I'm growing this vocal coaching business, and it's been so wonderful, and like I'm so proud of myself for doing it.
Yeah, you should be. That's amazing, because like you said, well, first of all, I always thought you were shy. You know, you're very shy.
I can be.
Which is kind of interesting to me, because you're an amazing stage performer. So to meet you in person, you're very like,
Reserved,
yes. Right? Which is very atypical of actors, right? Usually, like, and
sometimes.
Yeah, and you can be like a ham on stage, but that's kind of what I find interesting is like in person, you're very like low key, which is kind of cool and really, I don't know how to put it, refreshing. I think it's really refreshing.
Well,
I mean, either way, I love actors for that reason, that they could be so flamboyant. And I was like, like, you know, just express yourself. I love that. But I just found it so surprising how amazing you are as a performer, and how like super low key and shy you are in person. Hardly like just super soft spoken and very humble for somebody so talented. No, seriously, like I think that's so amazing. So you mentioned something, you studied some classical and then pop. What are like the major differences you can say when you were training in both, or either? I meant.
So classical, you're basically finding a way to get rid of all of the excess tension. So you can sing in an opera for 3-4 hours if need be.
Yeah.
So you're building the muscle and the coordination so that you can just go through your entire range, and you're expanding your range at the same time, and you're singing with this very, very open throat. So like a lot of times, if you ask anybody to imitate an opera singer, what will they do? Right? Open their throat and just go vibrato and like really high, because that's how we think of opera singers, and like that's like the characteristic like position. But in pop, you don't need to do that. It's more like speaking naturally,
right?
So it's, you don't have to assume this position. You can just make sound how you would naturally make sound. You don't have to have the so much space in there, although some more space than normal is helpful,
right?
And especially if you're going to go super belty or super high, space is helpful to have that. But like pop is just talking kind of.
I think that's I don't really consider myself a pop singer, but definitely my approach is more that, because that's easy for anyone who doesn't know anything about singing. It's like you said, to me, singing is like storytelling, right? So if I can kind of sing it and emote some kind of emotion, like some kind of, like whatever the message of the song is, I feel like I'm already singing.
Yeah,
exactly.
So
yeah, but with opera, it's like
longer and on pitch.
Yes,
just turning your story musical.
Yeah, but that's what I love about singing, is the storytelling aspect of it. And anything, like in general, I find art is that, I think. But singing, I think I love the old school singing that you can actually understand the words, because, like I said, if I think it's storytelling and then I can't understand the thing you're saying, like it's just not my style. I mean, everybody's got a different thing now. Now it's like, this repetitive riff that's like, what, did you just say anything at all?
It's very different.
You know, I'm very old school with that. But anyways, so you sang, you were off singing for a while, and you moved here, you got into theater. Like, how was theater for you? Because again, it's so, well, opera I guess is theater, but like pop is not so much. And then how did you get in theater and fell in love with it? Like, I mean, other than, I know it's like, it's something like, I got the bug, like I only did one show, I was like, gosh, my schedule allows me to do more because it's so much fun.
It's so fun. There's nothing like it. Like, just putting yourself into somebody else's shoes and getting to be 100% like free within that, you know?
Yeah.
It's really nice to be able to step outside of yourself, because when I step on stage as myself and I'm singing my original songs, there's so much more pressure, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much more vulnerable because it's me, it's Sarah.
Yeah.
Whereas when I was Mary Poppins, I could just like be Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
And whatever Mary was doing, if she was over the top, then great.
Yeah.
Because that's Mary Poppins. But like, I became really obsessed when I was little. I just watched so many musicals when I was a kid. I think my dad just put them on, you know, just so we could have something to watch, and it was super fun.
Yeah.
And I just really, there's something in that, like the romance and the story and just like the epicness of it, you know? It's like regular life, but like times 100.
Yeah.
You just feel everything so much.
Yeah.
And I'm a very feeling person, and so that got to me. I'm like, oh, I can do something with all these feelings. I can start singing about it instead of just holding them in, you know? And so I never did theater in high school because I was always in band, and I was obsessed with band.
And the band, like, you were playing in...
I was playing clarinet in band, and I was a marching band. I was a drum major.
Oh, okay, that kind of band, yeah. I did that too, but I was a majorette.
With the twirly...
twirl stuff. I didn't play any instrument. My instrument was just a stick, so I had to tell them, like, okay, let's go. With the whistle.
That's impressive. The twirling is very impressive.
I was just a bossy, like, little girl even then. I was like, yeah. And I just like it's the athleticism of it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It was fun.
Yeah, I don't even know how that even begins to happen.
Yeah, so. I haven't done it in a while. I gotta practice. But there was a time when I would, like, you know, how can you march and twirl and throw things in there and catch it and make it look cool? I don't know. I mean, I was like 13 or something. I'll have to practice. It's kind of like you're Japanese. It will probably come back.
Probably, yes. You've always been a performer, sounds like.
I'm more a ham.
Yeah.
Before a performer, because it's like the hamminess can, like, well, I gotta do something if I'm gonna be hammy about something. So
I was too. Like, there are videos of me when I was like 3 or 4 and my little sister was born, of me like pushing her out of the way of the video camera. I'm like, no, look at me.
Yeah, I love it.
Just me.
Yes.
Don't pay attention to her. She doesn't
See,
know.
there you go. So it was there, and somewhere along the way, growing up probably. And that's what I don't like about growing up, is that you start questioning yourself.
Squashes everything.
Yeah. And then, like, hopefully you, like, freaking crawl back out of there. So I wanted to kind of expand on that, because one of the things that I found so interesting about the way you're marketing your vocal coaching is mindset. And I love mindsets in general, because I'm all about that, like, in every day, really. I mean, how challenging it has been for most everybody the last couple of years, or even before then, but like the last couple of years, just everyone, it doesn't matter who you are, what your background is, we were all affected by something that's out of our control, that made us all feel so vulnerable and out of control, you know? Yeah. And mindset is what saves us, I think. So tell us, or tell me, well, us, you're watching, you too. Tell us about how mindset in particular became a focus on your vocal coaching.
I mean, that's how I have gotten to where I am as a singer. Like, when I was doing theater, I was realizing that I was having all these, like, synchronicities with my characters. So, like, when I was Mary Poppins, the main phrase was, like, anything can happen if you let it. It's like the big song at the end. Mm-hmm. And what I was going through in my life at the time, you know, it was learning to deal with my own mind in a way that I'm not resisting it all the time. So I was, like, starting to think about going to therapy. I hadn't been yet, but, like, I was realizing that my mind was getting in the way of all these things that I wanted to do. And so I started to think outside the box a little bit. And I've always been kind of a spiritual person. I was into yoga and mindfulness and just how that has an effect on the body as well. And so when I started to do theater, I started to realize, like, when I was having these negative thoughts, like, oh, I'm not going to be able to hit that note. I wouldn't be able to hit the note. But when I expanded and I was like, okay, I'm visualizing myself hitting that note and I'm letting go of the outcome, then I was able to hit those notes, whatever big note I was trying to hit. And so, you know, I was just practicing in my car at the time.
Right.
Like, I was just teaching myself basically in the car all these songs that I was having to learn. And I had so many epiphanies. I started to notice how if I just focused on relaxing certain parts, like if I noticed that my tongue was tight, like that's my tendency in this part of the song, I can like intentionally relax and that note will come out easier. And I didn't even know it was happening until I noticed what thoughts were happening in my mind. Like it's amazing how quick the mind affects the voice. It's
Absolutely.
so intimately intertwined, right?
Yeah.
Because you have thoughts and you immediately make a sound, right? If you are worried about something, like you're gonna be like, oh my god, or like if you stub your toe, you're gonna be like, ouch, like you don't even think about making that sound. And so when you're singing, if you're having all these thoughts about, oh, I don't think I can hit that high note, these muscles start to tense up and you don't even know it's happening. And so you start to realize like how you're putting up all these blocks. Like I call it like layers of saran wrap that we put to protect ourselves from failure. And so it's that ego mind that comes in. I call it the gremlin. And so the gremlin comes in.
I hate that ego guy, you know?
He's terrible.
If I ever see him in the face, I'll punch him. I don't like him.
Good, and that's the advice I give my students all the time. Because that's the only way to get rid of him.
Yes.
Because like he's constantly there telling you you're not good enough, you're not going to be able to do that run, you're not going to be able to sing this song, it's too hard for you. But when you separate yourself from that and stop believing that voice and put it over here, he's going to come back always, he does. But when you can be free from that for 2 seconds, you can allow whatever comes out of your mouth to come out and let it be free and possibly imperfect and ugly. And that's when the natural mechanisms kick in and you can hit those notes. And most people are more on pitch. They are able to do things that they didn't expect they could do just by separating themselves from that voice. It's pretty magical. Yeah.
But that's something you pretty much kind of discovered while you were kind of playing around and trying to work on yourself.
Kinda, yeah. And it has to do with a lot of, you know, your life path in general. Like, I never would have thought that I would be singing as much in my life as I am now.
Really?
But it's just because I wanted it so bad. And I started noticing that these negative thoughts were coming in and I separated myself from that. And I was like, no, that's crap. I'm not allowing myself to believe that right now.
Yeah, I'm curious why you felt that way for so long. You were so freaking talented. You know?
Well, it wasn't always, but thank you.
But you really didn't know that? Or just...
I mean, I knew I could carry a tune, and my teachers were very helpful in expanding this mindset as well. So like, I think I learned a lot of this subconsciously through my classical teacher. Like she didn't talk about it in the same way that I do, but a lot of the lessons you learn in order to sing classically, you have to get out of the way. You have to just be the vessel for the sound. And so that really led me into this idea of how do I bring myself back into this allowing state as often as humanly possible. What's getting in the way of that? And it's usually the voices from the past. You know, so many people come into my studio and they're like, man, I wish I could sing like Ariana Grande, or like, I just don't ever sing because, you know, my mom told me when I was 7 that I should stop singing in the car, and I took that to mean that I'm a bad singer. We ingrain these little micro traumas about our voice, and so everybody has many ideas about their voice, and they come in and they're like, man, I just wish I could match pitch. I'm like, you are matching pitch. Like, I don't know who told you that you couldn't, but you're doing it. You know, it's just those voices that come in and they create the gremlin. It's not you, it's not your voice, and it's more often than not true.
Well, I was gonna say it was my brother's gremlin voice, because growing up, I remember I would sing a little bit, and he'd be like, "Oh my God, you sound so awful! Stop singing." But I think he was just being a bully brother, like jokingly. I don't think he even knew what he was saying. Like he didn't mean to be mean, but I was a little self-conscious about it for a little while until I joined the choir in high school because my best friend at the time wanted so bad to join the choir, or she wanted to sing, and we both auditioned, and I got it. We both got in, but I got in like as a regular. I don't remember how we called ourselves, but she was a sub. But I got in the choir, and every day we would sing. This was back in the Philippines. I went to high school in the Philippines, and every day we would sing the national anthem, and they would always ask a student to lead the national anthem. So my class, it was our turn, and they always, of course, ushered the ones who joined the choir, and I was like, no, I joined the choir not like because I sing. So I sang the national anthem in front of everybody, and obviously everybody had to sing along with me, but you literally had the microphone. And so I just sang it, and then later my music teacher came to me and he's like, you know what? That was the first time a student sang the national anthem in perfect key. Like perfect, like, because there's this part, oh my God, I can't remember the song now, but anyways, I'll remember later, and I'll probably bring it back. But there's a part where it apparently goes, anyways, I'll go back to it. But the people always miss this extra note, because again, it's kind of like the national anthem here. Like everybody kind of sings it, but it's a difficult song to sing. So hardly anybody really knows how to sing it well. So same with our national anthem. I don't think it's like as musically challenging, like the range.
The register changes.
Yeah, it's like that's a crazy, like American freaking national anthem is ridiculous. Like who were they expecting to sing it? Yeah.
Celebrities, apparently.
Celebrities, apparently, I actually sang it in an MMA fight. No, a boxing thing here at the, what do you call that in Wailuku? The kind. Anyways, I sang it in front of like 3,000 people.
Wow.
And I forgot the lyrics.
I don't blame you. I mess up those lyrics all the time.
I forgot the lyrics, and then the cool thing is everybody was so nice that I was so afraid that people were gonna throw me rotten tomatoes or something, but people actually sang along with me.
Oh,
I thought that was really sweet, and then it was all good, and then towards the end I forgot almost. I paused, and then everybody sang along with me again to make sure that I didn't forget again, and everybody just cheered me on. So I just made sure that I hit the high notes towards the end to kind of make up for it. But but otherwise, it was actually funny, and it was actually, I almost thought that it was better that I forgot the lyrics, because it made me feel stronger about the song. Yeah. Like it made me feel like, I was able to come back and also bring everyone together, and everybody sang along with me.
That's such a huge thing that people don't even realize. Like people are so terrified of that gremlin voice and of messing up in front of other people and what other people are going to think of them, that they don't realize that the audience is on your side. Like if you mess up, they're going to help you. Yeah. Like it really matters like how you handle that situation. Yeah. Like if you take it lighthearted and you're like, I forgot the words. Yeah. Like, can you help me out? They're going to be like, and they're going to remember that performance more than a perfect performance. Right. Right. And so this is why we have to start getting rid of this gremlin voice, and why after so many years of holding myself back, I finally was like, F it. Yeah. I'm just gonna...
you can say fuck it.
Cool, fuck it. So I'm just gonna let whatever comes out of my mouth come out and trust that my voice is good enough, because usually when I am not worried about how it's gonna go, it sounds better. Yeah. When I just focus on how it feels and just have fun with it, I can do more.
And the energy, I think, that you put out, right? Like, of course, you're so much more entertaining when you're having fun. I mean, I imagine, like, I think, like, sometimes people tell me, it's like, oh my God, you're so fun to watch. I was like, oh, it's because I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, it's I'm just being myself and I'm just being goofy. And that's actually what people need to see more, because performing, I mean, there's so many performers out there, right? And a lot of it is calculated, not in, you know, just because you kind of have to organize your show in a way, but the authenticity, I think, of somebody like allowing themselves to be vulnerable to go up on stage, especially like you said, if it's your song,
Yeah.
right? That alone makes you like, holy shit, like that's all you. So even the mess ups, if you wrote the song and you messed it up, it's not necessarily better, but there's something about how lighthearted you can be about it that makes people connect with you more.
Exactly.
Because relatability, I think, is what makes people connect with their performers or whoever it is that they're watching more so these days. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Even like people that just talk on YouTube all day long, like they are honest about what
Yeah.
they're going through.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I didn't mean to say that thing. Let's change it to this.
Yeah.
And when I watch like pop stars that mess up like live performances and they forget their own words,
Yeah.
I'm like, that makes me feel so much more connected to them.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
because
yes.
they're human and they are not
Yes.
just putting out this polished
Exactly.
existence
Yeah.
into the world. It's like, oh, okay, you're a singer that forgets words too.
Yeah.
Like, I can be okay with going on stage because
Yeah.
I might forget words,
Yeah.
and then I could be just like Taylor Swift, you know?
Exactly.
It could be
And they make
fine.
fun. Yeah.
And I have.
Yeah.
In Mary Poppins, I forgot
Yeah.
an entire line.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But it was during Supercalifragilistic, and
So-
I was like having so much fun. I don't think anybody really noticed.
Yes, yes.
Even though it was me in front of the stage with a solo line, I was
Yeah.
just like, and then nothing.
What did you do? Like, I mean, when you realized you forgot the words.
I
or,
think I was like, so beforehand I was like, okay, I'm not going to forget the words. I'm not going to forget the words. And of course, what you think happens.
Yes.
So I forgot the words. And then afterwards I was just like, okay, what's next? Nothing's coming out. Next line. Okay, now we're good. I know the rest of it now.
And you, like you said, nobody really noticed.
I don't think so.
Is there a technique to that? Like, because it's okay.
Just-
If you're like having a performance, like you're playing your guitar or whatever, you can kind of make a joke.
Mhm.
But in a musical theater where there is a storyline
And a pace to everything.
yes, and sometimes the other actors probably waiting for you to say your line so they can react to it. Is there a technique to? I mean, is there anything in mind? Like, okay, if I mess up, I can go here or there. Is there such a thing?
I mean, honestly, my technique in order to prevent messing up is just to continue thinking about what's coming next. So like when I'm on a line, I don't think about that line anymore because I've memorized it enough so that I can just,
Good. Yeah.
it's muscle memory at that
Yeah.
point, and so I'm just always forward thinking about what's next. But
Yeah.
in the moment, if it happens, there's nothing really you can do. It's just keep thinking about what's next because by the time you remember it, it's going to be past.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so you just got to keep going, and whatever comes into mind, even if it's the last verse, do it again.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows what you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
So you just go with it, and keeping yourself out of that judgmental mind is really important because you have to just go.
Right.
You know, that's the great thing about music. Like it's especially if you're playing with like the whole live band underneath you, like you don't have any time to fix your mess ups
Yeah.
or apologize or make a face. You
Yeah.
just go.
Yeah.
There's
Huh.
no other option.
What do you find most forgiving? Like, okay, there's a musical theater, and then there's live performances when you're playing your own songs or maybe a concert. You know, what do you find where you feel like, okay, this is like the easy, not, you know, I mean, obviously you're gonna go and perform and try to do your best, right? But what do you feel like the most relaxed? Like, oh, I'm not as stressed out doing this kind of performance.
Yeah, just doing it by myself is it's pretty chill. I have been really wanting to explore performing by myself where somebody else is playing guitar or piano, so I can just focus on my voice.
Yeah.
Because like I can play guitar and sing, but
Yeah.
it's like using more of my brain.
Absolutely.
And I don't get to fully focus on the singing part. So like it's nice when I'm playing just by myself because like I can flub something and make it sound like I meant to do it more easily.
Yeah.
But like if there's a piano player that I'm playing with, like Sal, I've played with a couple times, and he's so good at following. He can make any mess up sound like I meant to do it also.
Yeah.
And then the pressure is off
Sal,
of me too.
who's Sal?
Sal Godinez.
Okay, I think I might have heard of.
He plays with a whole bunch of people. Amy Gilliam being one of them. He can play literally any song ever.
Yeah, that's so amazing. I when I worked in the cruise ship, the piano player was kind of the same. Where like, yeah, you just say what song, and in fact, even if you didn't know it very well, he can follow you.
Yeah,
that was amazing to me because I can't, like I said, I never really learned music. I can't play any instrument really. I mean, I've kind of dabbled with the guitar, and I think I learned how to play one song. And then I sold my guitar because I needed cash. This was back in like college or whatever. Yeah, but so I never got back to it. But now that we live in Hawaii, in Maui, like I feel like everybody plays the guitar or the ukulele, and I think at some point definitely I'm sure my last guest, Kyra, she's like, oh, I bet you're just learning on YouTube. I was like, I bet you.
You could.
YouTube University is really pretty amazing. So.
You can learn, yeah. Ukulele is pretty easy and very user-friendly.
Yeah.
So if you want to just like accompany yourself to some easy songs, it's totally doable.
I think that would be a fun one.
That's the beauty of being a singer, is that like you can just sing whatever you want anytime. You don't have to know anything. You don't have to like learn chords.
I've gotten away with it like through the years, just like again karaokeing or you can sing a cappella and make it pretty, So I love that. I love that freedom of like being in the car and you can make music with your voice on your own in whatever mood you're in. Like even just today, just thinking about like having you on the show, and I started making the funny noises that sounded like horses.
Yep.
But I was like, and I was laughing. I was like, well, it kind of sounded funny and fun. And I was like, see, like, it's amazing what you can do with your voice, even if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got away with it. Like not knowing what I was doing. Oh my God, and singing that song in German, talk about like forgetting things.
Yeah.
There were a couple of times like, oh, I don't think that was the right word, but I was like, I'm hoping nobody speaks German in the audience tonight.
I think you got away with a whole lot.
I think so too. It was so much fun. I'm so glad I got to do that. Now you did some burlesque show as well. So you were saying like, okay, you kind of got, because like I said, I was talking about like how shy you are, and then you opened up and did burlesque. How was that?
I fully credit Felicia for that.
Yes, don't we all? I love Felicia. She was on the show, yeah. And she was like the reason I was in the show, because she told me about the audition, and I was just like, where'd I go? And then of course, and apparently, I did the singing and the speaking part of the role she would have had.
Oh.
Because like she would have doubled as Fräulein Kost.
Oh, gotcha.
That was her yeah. But she just did the dancing because I asked him, I was like, I don't want to dance. And it was so funny because it was around the time, I was still really self-conscious about like, I don't know, being out there in public. I mean, now look at me, I'm like naked all the time, running around, like showing my side boob. I know. It's hilarious. Talk about freedom, right?
Yeah.
We kind of go through all that kind of growth, and whether it be just like letting yourself, just putting yourself out there singing the way you should have been singing all this time. It also made me like, just the past couple of years, I was just telling my friend that today on our hike, I was like, I'm kind of a late bloomer when it comes to that, because I used to be very self-conscious about that. Like on that show, in the end, the beginning of the show, they told us that we were all going to be naked at the end of the show. And it wasn't like even a sexual connotation. If anything, it was a very dark, sad, difficult scene. But I was so afraid of like taking my clothes off in public. Like at the time, I was like, oh my God, no, I have these kids who buy donuts from me. I'm like, and then now looking back, God, I would have not gone to cabaret. I could have done that. But now, like, just, and that's even something that I talked to Felicia about in the recent time they were on the show, is that how do you separate that, right? Like, I mean, you work with kids as well, right? So how do you separate that, being able to navigate around, like who is your audience, who's around, who's, you know, what are you trying to put out there? And this whole Madame After Midnight thing to me was like, yeah, it's like so empowering. It just feels like you know, I'm all woman, you know, and it sometimes again that could be misunderstood. Like, oh, she's trying to get attention. She wants a date. I was like, no. I actually don't. Please don't message me.
Actively not dating.
Actively not dating anyone, not open, not available in that way. I'm available to myself.
Yeah.
I think is what I've like realized to the last couple of years. It's like, wow, this has been the most available I've been to myself. Kind of like I guess in a way with you, like you've been this talented singer and finally just like open up to yourself. Like everybody else around you knew you could sing amazing, but you.
Yep.
Which is crazy, right?
It is crazy what we do to ourselves inside
Yeah.
our head, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, it was around the time that I was going through a big breakup, which I credit also to theater and to finally stepping into what I wanted to do, because we just like exponentially went in our separate ways. And so around that time, Felicia was doing a burlesque show, and I was like, hey, if you need another person, I can come sing a song. And she's like,
hell yeah.
only if you take your clothes off.
I love that. Felicia!
She's the best.
Oh my god, she is the best!
And I was like, okay, fine, I will do it. And so I sang a song with my guitar.
Yeah.
And then for 1 second during the song, I had pasties on and some purple frilly underwear. For 1 second, I put the guitar down and then back up. And that was my first burlesque show ever.
I love it.
And it made me feel like I could do anything.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much I was holding myself back. Like, as a woman, as an adult, as a person who has needs and desires, and as this multifaceted person. I'm not just a person who teaches kids. And
Exactly.
perfect all the time. Like, I'm an adult. Like, I have this part of me, and I need to allow it out sometimes. And she, Felicia and the girls at Cabaret and Cocktails could create such a beautiful, safe space, and so supportive for whatever you want to do. And so then the next time I was on stage, I was pole dancing and singing at the same time.
Oh my fucking god, I missed that.
I still can't believe I did that.
Oh, what? Shit, I missed that.
I will hopefully do it again.
Yes, please revive that role. Oh my god.
To get the muscles back.
Yeah, well, you know, you got Waikapu dance breaks now for that, yeah. But oh god, yeah, that's amazing. I missed that that burlesque when you actually performed. But she was talking about how burlesque is so liberating, you know, and just really, and looking back, you know, I mean, I didn't do burlesque, but cabaret was, you know, it had that theme, and it was empowering to know that you can go on stage and do that and just be in front of people, because it's nerve-wracking. It was nerve-wracking, and I was self-conscious because people knew me.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh god, what the fuck is she doing now, you know? But again, after that, like a series of things, and I want to say, okay, so I did that show, a series of things. I met Patty. We kind of knew each other through mutual friends, but it was around the time I met her, and she's like, oh, we should do a photo shoot. I was like, oh, I don't do photo shoots. But then around that time, I was getting photographed a lot, and I take my job seriously. Like, that became a big part of my job. When people came here, you know, especially tourists, they want to take pictures with you, and I used to think, like, what the fuck for? Like, in my mind, I was like, take a picture of the donuts. The donuts are pretty, you know, and so I always kind of wondered why people did that. But, you know, tourists, like, oh, there's people who met, blah, blah, blah. And so I started feeling like, okay, I gotta be more gracious about that and be more comfortable, like it's normal. And then I was getting written up. And again, it's like, you know, I can do that, I'm a ham, but it's not normal or comfortable. Comfortable, I guess is the word. And so when she suggested doing a photo shoot, I was like, well, you know, I should do it. But I was very controlling. Like, I wanted it to be in the shop, so I didn't go anywhere else that's like foreign to me. And I asked friend of mine to do the photo shoot. That way I wasn't like, who's this person in my space, right?
Yeah.
So she took photos, and mostly of Patty, because I was like, okay, I just want the pretty girl to hold donuts, you know? So, and Patty was so much fun, and, you know, she's so down to earth, really. Mm-hmm. So it was really easy, because sometimes you think, like, oh my God, I'm going to be hanging out with a model, like, what the fuck do I do, right? And she's just super playful. So it wasn't even a photo shoot. We were just goofing around, eating donuts and having fun. And so that was good, and then we partnered up in Sugar Bomb Squad. Again, just me to like get more comfortable. And I think in performance, like you're saying, like you finally owned, like, this is me, this is what I do, I want to sing, and I sing well, god damn it. Performing your own songs, like there's something so vulnerable about that. Yeah. You know. So 2020 you recorded your first album. What was the background on that album, and why did it finally come out in 2020?
Because I finally started taking the reins and saying yes to myself, because it's something I always wanted to do, but I never, you know, I was like, oh, albums cost so much money, like how am I gonna get, 10 songs recording ready, and then all of a sudden I had all this time to do it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna find a way to get the money. And so these songs have been created over the last, since I was 14, basically. Mm-hmm. So it was like 20 years in the making. Like all of these songs, I picked through all of my songs and I was like, okay, this one needs to be on the album. I think the oldest one on there I wrote when I was like 16. And then the newest one I had written like just a couple of months earlier. And so it's very expansive time-wise. But it's the songs that I needed to get out. Like I couldn't let them just sit inside me anymore. I needed to like actually do something with them. And it ended up being a kind of a cohesive project, because all the songs that I put on there kind of followed this theme of Holes, which is the name of the album. Mm-hmm. It has a lot to do with the theory of holes, which is kind of about like how everybody, as you grow up, you start to realize that you have strengths and weaknesses, and then there's part of you that's like missing something, like based on your nurture or nature. And so like some people have a hole around their intellect, and so like they get really defensive if somebody says anything about like, oh, you're stupid or something, like they it's the trigger, right? And so the only way to transcend that is not to try and fill the hole with differently shaped things. It's like the little kid's toy with like the square and the circle. Like you're just trying to put the
Simple
square in the
Sesame
circle.
Street stuff, like
So we're trying to fill that hole with a relationship or with food or with a job or something. And so I was feeling a whole lot of that throughout the last couple of years. Like went through that breakup and changed careers and was finally saying yes to myself. And so what I wanted to have the whole album be about was like the sitting with the hole, because that's the only way through, is to go out through the hole and out the other side and not try and fill it with stuff. And so a lot of these songs just happen to have that same, go figure, I'm a person that has the same issues a lot throughout my whole life.
Yeah, I mean, don't we, like,
Yeah, and so I ended up just recording it. I was basically putting myself in like online university, like watching so many music business videos and like how to do this on your own as an independent artist. And so I started like a fundraising page, kind of like my own GoFundMe. I made it myself, and I funded my entire album through creating an email list and asking people to buy the album, pre-order it, and then donate extra if you can. And I'm so grateful to all those people that are hanging out with me. Thank you. If you listen to my music, if you're here. It's really impressive. And a lot of them are people I've met throughout my life, and they're still hanging out with me and support what I do, and it's really wonderful.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. And are they mostly on Maui or everywhere? Like,
everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah, I got 100 CDs and I sent them everywhere, to New York, to California, everywhere.
Yeah. But that's so amazing, because we were just talking about that and how, like, I personally am very bad at, like, asking as well.
Yeah.
So it's
It took a lot.
I bet.
A lot.
I bet, because that's not easy. That's hard. Like I get scared thinking about it because I'm just not good at that. In fact, I did this course in Maui Food Innovation, and one of the things that we needed to do at the end of the course is to go in front of everybody and talk about your business and then ask for money. You can win $5,000. And I did not ask. I told my story and I did not say anything about money that I needed or wanted or whatever. I just told my story and what the donuts are about. And then I say thank you. And I had like practically a standing ovation. Like they loved my speech. And then at the end, one of the instructors, he's like, why didn't you ask for money? I was like, I don't know how. I couldn't make myself. And so of course I didn't get the money, right? And which is part of it. There was this couple in the audience. They came up to me afterwards like, oh my God, you're an amazing speaker and we just love your story. And then I told them what happened and they're like, oh, pride. That's one of the 7 deadly sins, you know. And I was like, oh,
wow.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know this couple, but to
Hardcore.
this day, I could still hear their voice because that's a very powerful thing to say. And it made me really realize like that is so detrimental to my future, or at least just moving forward, you know. So I really commend you for like being able to do that because that's hard. Like I'm still struggling with it. I keep thinking like, oh, I'll find some people in my crew that would do that for me because it's a tough thing.
It is really tough, and I think we've been so ingrained throughout our whole lives by our parents and society to think, oh, don't ask for anything, it's selfish.
Exactly.
Like, don't put yourself out there, you know.
Selfish, or like basically a weakness, you know.
Exactly. You have to be able to do it all on your own, which is dumb and not how anything works ever.
Exactly.
And I mean, you have to kind of flip your mindset, and that's what my music business mentors have taught me. Like, in order to do what you want to do in the world, like you're not just making you happy, you're giving people a gift. And you're giving people the gift of happiness through food, and I'm giving people a gift of happiness through music. And you have to start seeing it as that. And even that mindset shift can be really scary because, you know, your parents are in your head going, you know, you get to give to other people, like you thinking of yourself as a gift is egotistical, you know?
Right.
And so you really have to just like root down and double down on that fact. Like, what I'm doing makes people happy because people have told me that my music makes people happy, and you have so many fans of your shop. And you have to just remind yourself, like, if I discount myself by not asking for what I need to keep this going, then I'm not able to give them that joy in the future, you know? So you're doing them a disservice by not asking for what you need to keep that
I think I just got my quote. A lot of creatives, we're kind of crazy. I feel like we are hams, but we have this thing like we'd rather not talk to people. Sometimes people don't know that about us. And actually, I was trying to get that out of you because I'm kind of the same where I'm a ham, but usually I'm by myself, right? When people see me doing all my antics, nobody's here.
It doesn't feel like anybody's watching you.
Right, nobody's here. So I could be everything, every me that I could possibly be because I'm not scared. But then people ask me to go out and like, oh, there's this event or there's this party. I was like, I don't go out to parties.
I'm so glad I'm not alone.
It's so true.
I feel like such a hermit. That's, you were talking about like how I'm very reserved.
Yes.
And like, yes, I am, because when, like, I don't speak unless I have something really important to say. And also, it's this weird artist, like, two personality thing that's like, look at me, don't look at me.
Yes!
Oh, look at me this way, don't look at me this way.
I know, it's so messed up. So people say like I must be like the life of the party, but that is if I go.
Right.
I don't even go. So and people don't expect that of us because they'd see us on stage and they'd be like, "Ooh, super flamboyant," or do my thing like while I'm in the kitchen and running around pretty much naked. But when I'm naked, again, I'm by myself or with one friend who's photographed me. 2 people who photographed me buck naked. But and we're like in the woods. There's no danger, generally speaking. I mean, if you have to follow me there, you're gonna sweat because you're gonna be like running. You have to go up like the top of the mountain to see me naked because I'm not gonna take my clothes off, and you know what I mean. So, but it's because it's just me and my friend, or just me. I'm maybe putting it out in the world, but I don't see them. So it's got that like sense of, I don't know, security, if you will.
Yeah.
Even if it's out there and you can never take it back.
Totally. And
so
it's a whole different thing now, social media.
It
like,
is, yeah.
I'm doing this 100-day singing challenge right now. People are like, I don't know how you could do that. Like,
Yeah.
it sounds like torture just to sing every day on social media. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, number one, this is what I want to do with my
Yes,
life. It's my
yeah,
passion. So
exactly.
I'm making the commitment to do that. And number two, I've just trained myself to take a deep breath and push the red button.
Yeah.
And just go.
Yeah.
And not care, because like once I do that, it's like jumping in cold water. You know, you're already in.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, you have this new single. Tell me about this because I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. It's just jamming. It's got great energy,
Yeah.
and it's not your typical songs that you came up with. Like, so different from your first album.
Totally. I think I needed to do that album fully acoustic just to tell myself that I could do it. Like, to give myself evidence that, like, yes, I can do the acoustic singer-songwriter thing. I love that part of music. But this song, when I wrote it, it was so intense when it came through. I was writing it alongside one of my teen songwriting classes. I was like, you know, while they're free writing, I'm free writing. And it just came out, and it was like during the height of the lockdown. And I was like, okay, now is the time. I got to do this thing now. And I can't keep giving myself these excuses, because now I have no excuses. Like, I can't leave my house. What else am I going to do but make this freaking album, because I've been waiting for 10 years. And so it was very just like motivational for myself. And also a lot of things are happening in the world that, you know, were ugly to look at. And it was kind of this idea of like, okay, I'm making myself look at it so I can become better equipped to be a person in the world, to be a responsible person in the world. And so it's a lot of that, just like no excuses, like just be here, be present, don't try and distract yourself with food or TV or whatever else you usually distract yourself with. It's time to put the rubber to the road, you know?
Yeah.
And to just do it. And so for some reason, the melody that was coming through felt very uplifting and very electronic dancey.
Yeah.
And so I was in, I'm still in like 500 musician Facebook groups. And so I put my self out there, and I put a couple examples of my voice, and this producer from San Diego contacted me. We met on Zoom. He's a super sweet guy. His name is Frank. And he, you know, a lot of us aspiring amateur semi-professional musicians hang out in the same circles, and it's really nice to meet those people who are on the same level as you and are willing to do the best work we can to level each other up.
Yeah.
And so it's not like I have to pay this producer thousands of dollars to create my song. He's willing to go in on it with me, so we can both level up our stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that's
so that
awesome.
was really exciting, and he's such a pro at this genre. It was like, it's so, and it's cool because he is along the same lines. Like, he wants to make music that's real, and it's not just about superficial things, and like wants to better the world with the music. So
oh, I love that, because I always feel like, okay, you're gonna put yourself out there. You have to put yourself out there for a reason. It's not just like to get attention for shits and giggles, you know. If you're getting people's attention, and that's something I had to kind of struggled with it in the beginning, because becoming more popular caused me issues in my personal relationship. And so I resented becoming popular, because what for? You know, I'm still poor. I was like poor and famous. So it was interesting learning, again, the owning it part, and realizing that has become a part of my role in life and in the community, and what can I do with this, right? So since I was getting the attention, what if I can draw that attention and funnel it into something that's more productive, right? So now it's become kind of almost like just a goal, but like like a part of my purpose. Like if you're paying attention to me, can I sneak in good information or like some awareness and things that maybe you didn't think about, and you're just trying to be entertained, right? Because it's the thing about us performers, or the kind of people that people are drawn to. Most people come to us for entertainment, and that's great. We need that. I always say that to be entertained is to help sustain your happiness, right? So that's what we're saying, that the value that we're putting out in the world with your music or with my food, that's part of the entertainment that most people need to stay happy. But instead of just, for us, I think it's so much more fulfilling when we know the purpose behind it, right? So that your music is making other people happy, but what else? Maybe insert like a message that means a lot to you, right? And that's kind of what you write in your songs, and hopefully, and even the way you coach, right? It's not just about vocal techniques, because you can get that almost anywhere, but that's what I found so unique about your approach, is like you're bringing in your insights for better health, almost
overall,
holistic, and I think that's the only way I think you can heal, really. And when I say heal, it's just the hang-ups that we have that keeps us from moving forward to do things that's more productive for us and for the rest of like who's around us. The hang-ups is what's keeping us. Like, you're this amazing singer from, I'm sure, the get-go, but you didn't know it. And so you've stifled people's happiness. How dare you, woman?
Right? How dare I?
You stifled their happiness when you did not own it. And that's kind of a crazy way to look at it, but I think there's like a lot of truth to it. Because not everybody has that, or gets put in that position where you have a voice. Yeah. So if you do, use it, but hopefully use it for the good. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now. Like I said, I started a nonprofit, and I have a few projects that I'm going to launch pretty soon, but it's like use it for good instead of just this, beyond entertainment.
Absolutely. Like
my food, for me, it's like I've made it a part of like a way to connect with the community, instead of just like, okay, well, you get your sweet treats on Saturdays. Like I feel like, okay, beyond that, I reach out to other local businesses or farmers, or just really raise awareness on where our food comes from. Because I feel like I'm a little fortunate. I'm very fortunate that I grew up with that awareness already. Maybe I've eaten a couple of things out of the microwave like less than 5 times in my hand. Like... these fingers.
That's pretty impressive. Your whole life, wow.
Yeah, because I didn't own a microwave, and it was odd to me. It's still odd to me. It's not natural. So I want to share that with people, like how natural it is to find real food, and that's what you cook with. Like the whole thing, like the whole vegetable, instead of just seeing it in the can already.
I mean, do you know how many kids don't know where their food comes from?
Oh my God.
Like, they have no idea.
That is actually, I've discovered that, so that's why I want to do what I do. It's like, I don't want it to be preachy, because sometimes kids don't want to, they don't listen when it's preachy, so I want to make it fun, but I didn't realize that. It was amazing to me. During the pandemic, people were talking about, this is why I started a nonprofit actually, people were talking about like, oh, what if the bar just stopped coming, what are we going to eat? And I was like, oh my God, why do you think that? And I'm not saying that, it's going to be great if the bar just stopped coming, but I also felt that we should remember where we are and our access, more than anywhere in the world, how well we can feed ourselves just based on what we can get off of the land and the water and what we got going here, the weather, So to me, I was like, my God, do you not appreciate where we are truly? Because it's not just the beaches and the beautiful views. I mean, that's amazing, but really the gift of life. That's like, we are the seat of life.
Absolutely.
It's amazing to me. So when I would hear that, I felt like, oh my God, something's got to change with, talk about mindset. Like, cannot think that way. You should feel empowered to be able to feed yourself if you need to. So that became kind of my thing, like, oh, people listen to me or paid attention to me because of the way I create my food, that I felt like that's another way for me to kind of talk about digressing from donuts to other ways of feeding yourself, that's actually good for the environment, good for you, and like really, like, yeah, I make donuts for a living, but it's not the only thing I eat or I appreciate to eat, so I think that's one of the reasons why I think I got kind of popular, is that people like would look at me and they're like, you make donuts and you look like that. And I was like, well, yeah, so then I have to remind you or introduce, or like show you. That's why I show myself running up and down the mountains, because you gotta do these things to stay healthy. It's not just like, you eat your donuts and that's it. That's not what I'm selling. I'm selling a whole life. Talk about holistic, right? I'm talking about like allowing yourself to have the treats, but also being aware that the rest, like on when it's not Saturday, that you should eat your vegetables. go support your local farm and eat like beautiful organic vegetables, so that you can eat your donuts on Saturdays. And I think that's just, again, a holistic approach to like happiness, and just in general how you keep yourself healthy, so I don't recommend eating a donut every single day, although when I was open I did have clients who would come customers who would come every day, and I was like,
wow.
But I'm gonna say one of them was like one of the fittest girls I know.
Yeah, I mean,
it's crazy.
It's the balance.
Oh yeah, and Tiffany. I mean, Tiffany.
Yeah,
she works here, and Saturday's kind of her donut day. And I mean, look at her. It's like you can't pinch that girl without hurting yourself.
Right.
She's so muscular.
She's got the balance figured out.
Yes. Oh, I love her. Okay, so we talked about your single, and I just really love that.
Thank you for that whole rant that you just did.
Oh,
by the way, I have to say.
Thanks.
Because you just got to the heart of why I do what I do, on both sides of what I do, and so many people. I have to explain that in so many different ways, but you just got it.
Oh, good.
Thank you. And I think that's why people are so drawn to you, is because there's substance and there's meaning behind it, and you're not just making donuts.
Thank you.
And I feel like that's on the same side, like that's why people listen to me sing and they feel something else.
Yes.
It's not just I'm singing this song as it meant to be written.
Yeah.
I'm putting my own self behind it, and I'm writing songs because I have something else to say, and I need it to be that way, because otherwise I would feel like I'm not doing anything of substance. I'm just
with your talent, service level. Exactly. I think that's where we find most of our happiness, like a fulfillment, instead of a fleeting excitement or joy out of what we do, is when it actually means something. Fulfillment is a word I think that best describes it, because you can achieve as a singer, you can get awards, but when you change people's lives and you affect them on a deeper level, as an artist, as a creative, I think that's really when you feel like, that's why I have this gift.
Absolutely.
Right. So aside from being entertaining, and this was kind of one of my goals with this show, or producing all these things that I was doing recently, is like, it has to be entertaining, because I think that people need entertainment to stay happy and to stay engaged. Even I've always felt like you have a message but you sing it. How nice is that? Because you can say the same thing that you're saying in your songs, and people will probably just walk by and be like, okay, just another one ranting, right? Just ranting. But it's entertaining. You're beautiful. You have this beautiful voice, and you're just like, it's haunting. Like, what? Like, I would stay there and listen to you than if you were just on that same podium and just talking, right? Because people can do that, and we're just like, ugh. And it's in the same sense for me, like, if I can express that through my food, or even through like doing this, the entertainment of talking and bringing people here and being silly and being goofy and making them hungry and horny, it's like, it's entertaining, but you know what? They get another message out of that. And that's really what I want to put together, and that there's nothing wrong with being hungry or horny.
No.
Because it's being human. Kind of like you were like talking about being on that burlesque show, and there's something so liberating about just letting yourself go. And it's not necessarily sexual. There's a sensuality about it for yourself. Like being in touch with that, being human, having desires, like you were saying, and that you can express that and not feel shame attaching to desires or dreams or goals or wanting to like, fuck it, I've been wanting to sing all my life and I'm gonna ask for help.
Yes, exactly. It's the same idea. It's like you're unlocking this room inside of yourself that everybody else has told you to not ever go in. Whether it's being sexy on stage or chasing your dream or having a business. You know, people tell you like, oh, that's irresponsible. That's not possible. And so you lock that door. And then once you finally get to this place of the fuck it place and you go like, okay, I'm opening this door. I'm letting myself be a whole human in this way, in this exact place that I haven't let myself before. And that's the magic. And so many people are so afraid of opening that door. You know, and I think, I hope that what people get from watching me do my thing is to just, you know, take one little step into that room. You know, just see what it's like in there.
It's
Test
great,
it out.
you guys. Try it.
I know it's scary, but like, just, you know, do one audition. You know?
Oh, speaking of, I saw that you put an ad for auditions, vocal coaching for auditions next week.
So Maui on Stage is finally doing a musical.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yes, Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's one of my favorite shows. And so I had a couple people contact me and wanting to prep their audition because it's been a while for a lot of people. So I was like, let's just do a workshop. And so it'll be this Saturday from 2 to 4.
So, so people can find you online for this. So it's a workshop that just it's not one-on-one.
In person. We workshop at the theater.
Oh, amazing!
It'll be great. My email. You can find me on social media. Sara Jelley Music. Sarah with no H, Jelly with an extra E.
I forget to do this. See, this is like I had this info.
Oh, that's great. Look at that.
Yes, follow her on Vocal Magic Coach.
That's perfect.
Right, and then you have your Sara Jelley Music for your personal page. And they can watch you sing every single day for the next 365 days, right?
Hopefully, forever and ever.
But they can contact you. I saw that there's a link for your lessons, basically, in Vocal Magic Coach, right? So that's where they can find you and connect with you and join the workshop. Basically.
Exactly, so you can DM me on social media, you can email me, I posted the flyer on there. All the places.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
I'm so accessible.
What else is new with you? Oh shit, sorry, that's my whip.
Tell me what's new with you.
Oh my God, I had a guest here where I told him, I was like, I usually come with a whip, and he's like, you do? It was so funny.
You with a whip?
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Actually, that is one of my I have dream photo shoots. I've done one of them. One of them that I did was, like 11, 12 years ago, I was at a bar in San Francisco and I was thinking about moving to Maui. And I was like, I'm going to be a hunter because I saw on TV, it was in National Geographic, this guy was only eating anything he foraged or hunted for 30 days. And he happened to be in Hawaii at the time. So he was hunting and I saw that. I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. So I'm going to be a hunter. And he said, my dream photo shoot when I hunt is that my first kill, I wanted a photo shoot of me naked with its blood kind of like gushing through my naked body. And I did it.
Whoa.
I totally did it. I posted it with like blood. I was so afraid I think that was around the first times I was like, okay, I'm gonna post a picture of me semi-naked, just covered by the animal, you know. I know you're vegan, sorry. But but this is like I hunted this, and to me I actually learned how to hunt because I was working with the farms at the time, and I still do off and on, and it's a huge problem here in Maui. So I just thought that was another way for me to show that we can really feed ourselves. You know, we have all this meat, you know, and all these homeless people, like we can feed everybody. You know, anyways, that's another story. But so I did this photo with that. So the other photo that I wanted, I lost what were we just talking about? I lost track. The other photo that I wanted. God damn it.
We're talking about the whip.
Oh, the whip, yes. So yeah, thank you. So that was the other photo that I want, is me with the whip on my motorcycle with a bunch of goon-like looking motorcyclists that are like scared of me, kind of thing. I don't know how to do that yet, but definitely I'd be like the madame with the whip, and these guys are like, oh my god, she's, you know. Anyways, yeah. So that's I can make that happen. Anyways, what else is new with you lately? So what do we have to look forward to? Any shows coming up? And so you have this new single. So does that mean you're building up to a new album, right? That's gonna come with
theoretically. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm doing a lot of co-writes lately with people on Zoom. I'm co-writing with somebody in Scotland right now, and in Ohio, and in Canada, and it's really really cool to see, you know, all these other producers who are kind of, you know, same level as me, like, and we're trying to level each other up and get into the business officially. And my big goal that I have been talking about for a couple of years now is getting my music in TV and film. That's why I'm doing all this writing, so I can build up my portfolio and I can have stuff to pitch.
So to do like be on the soundtracks and stuff like that? Is that
kind of Yeah. A lot of shows just do like little snippets. Yeah. But like some of them create whole playlists and have it be on the soundtrack. But just being on the show, you get paid for that, like pretty significantly. So that's
and royalties
pretty awesome.
Every time it gets
royalties every time. And it's just always been my dream. Like I was always a TV kid.
Yeah.
And like I grew up finding out bands that I loved from watching TV. Like I was a huge fan of the OC when I was in high school.
Yes. So
and so much music from there I just loved, and so now I'm just like, I can do that now.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting. So I have 3 other singles. I don't know if I will release all of them, but probably at least 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So at least there'll be some singles out, and then we'll see about an album as I continue writing. I have some songs that I've written on my own that I want to develop a little more this year and see if I can publish those in the same vein, make them a little bigger. You know, I'm okay in the acoustic solo singer-songwriter realm. I'm really good at that. Yeah. But I want my songs to have the life that they deserve. You know.
So how do you see yourself like growing in the genres now? So you're like saying, okay, it's not that you're done with the acoustic, but you've proven yourself. So okay, now you're tinkering with other styles and other genres. What do we expect from you?
Well, one of these singles is like a big cinematic trailer feel.
Shut up.
There's another one that's like an epic ballad anthem, and then there's one that I recorded final vocals for today, actually, that's like a dark, creepy kind of angry thing.
What?
I know, it's weird.
Oh my god, that I want to hear. I was going to say I want to see, but I want to hear.
It's pretty good. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, just that's why I'm so excited to hear, just because I'm guilty of this too. Like we kind of stereotype, or we you know, like what are we familiar with like certain people, right? Like of course when people think of like, oh, she makes donuts, and then they're like, oh wait, she cooks too, or you know, like, yeah, actually, like, you know, and then
have a multifaceted human.
Yes, and that's the thing. Like sometimes we get so good or so popular for one thing, and then they forget that most of us really are multifaceted, you know? So then they see your other sides and like, oh, holy shit. So I cannot wait to hear all this other stuff.
It's going to be surprising for most people and epic. It's
I love
really
it.
Good.
Well, the last song alone, I was like, oh my god, that's so great, because I was just like, again, used to the acoustic that you did like the last couple of years that I was more familiar with outside of theater that you were doing. So this was like such a fun, to me, it's like, God, I was like, rocking to it, you know. So I cannot wait for the cinematic and angry. What?
It's weird. I know.
I love it.
It's like, I mean, there's some really cool stuff out there. I mean, just like Billie Eilish is really doing different stuff. Yeah. And like she's not afraid to get dark and angry. Yes. And I am so inspired by that. Like that's another door that I need to open. Is like allowing myself to be angry sometimes, because there's a lot of things I'm angry about.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing about the art of, well, music in particular, right? What was that? I felt like I read an article recently. Oh, something about the rappers that the court cannot use their lyrics against them anymore because they shouldn't.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was an article within the last week.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, when they're talking about like, you know,
Hop in a cab and
yeah,
people death.
and then something happens, and then they, you know, like remember how Eminem used to get in trouble a lot because of what he would say in his like rap songs, but like seriously, he wasn't killing his ex-wife. He wasn't gonna.
It's
you know,
metaphorical.
Yeah, he's buried her
art.
a few times, you know, in his songs, but like no, for reals. So yeah, so that's a new law. Isn't that crazy?
Cool. I mean,
So now you can sing your angry song and you don't have to like go to jail for it.
goodness.
Thank God. It's art, you guys. And that's one thing. It's like even like being naked.
Yeah.
For me, taking my clothes off, if you look at the photos, like first of all, I like to work with really good photographers, so it's like it's a beautiful photo. Okay, all right. Well, we gotta get going because I really want to sing with you.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're gonna warm up before then because probably I'll make myself another drink before I sing with you. So talk about letting go.
It'll be perfect.
It's gonna be so much fun. But I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. It's been great talking to you because I love your insight and you bringing your insight into your art. I think is just bringing your art to another level that is more. It's just a better and deeper way to connect with your audience and with me. Like I was like really impressed by your story.
Thank
actually,
you.
I'm so glad that I got to sit down here with you tonight. So, anyways,
absolute pleasure.
oh, thank you so much. Thank you. And I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. If you are watching us on YouTube, I will be back again next week, Monday at 9:01 Hawaiian time. Here on YouTube at the Madam Donut channel, and later we'll be posting our little karaoke time. Yay! And thank you. We want to say aloha.
Let your crazy come out just a little bit. I can see by how you're moving that you're feeling it.